ENO will develop its proposed implementation plan for the next 3 years of Energy Smart using programs, projected energy and demand savings, and inputs drawn from both of these studies. This slide shows the major milestones in the IRP process. Following this public meeting number 1, we will hold the first technical meeting in November. Subsequent technical meetings will occur throughout 2024 with specific deliverables and tasks that need to be completed along the way. After the IRP report is filed in December 2024, additional public meetings will be held in early 2025 to present the report and receive feedback. During the spring and summer of 2025, the focus will turn to how the IRP will inform the Energy Smart Plan and RCPS compliance for the succeeding 3-year period. At this point, I will turn it over to Emma Hand from the Council's legal advisors for some additional information regarding participation in the IRP process.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Emma Hand with the Council's legal advisors for utility matters. I'm delighted to be joined here today by Xavier Flavian from Southern University Law Center, who is our intern for energy matters. And what I wanted to talk about today, one of the important things for the public to understand about the IRP process is that it doesn't generate a specific plan that the utility is then required to follow for the next 20 years. It's a planning analysis that, when performed properly, involves input from not only the utility, but the stakeholders and the council's advisors. And it gives the utility and the council and the stakeholders and the public some confidence that as Entergy is looking at different potential resources to acquire, it has done the necessary analysis to really understand the full range of options that are available to it, and that and how those options might be expected to perform across different potential future scenarios. Whenever Entergy does go to acquire a specific resource, it still has to file an application specific to that resource with the council for the council and the stakeholders and the public to examine and understand and make sure that that is a good decision for the utility system and to serve the ratepayers of New Orleans. So what we're looking at here is really a planning analysis and making sure that everybody has an understanding of all of the options of supply side resources, demand side resources, utility storage, new technologies coming onto the market, so that everyone has a good understanding of what options are available to serve the city and a good basis to evaluate different proposals as they come forward. If you'd like to become involved in this proceeding, there are 3 ways to participate. The first, which is kind of the most intense way to participate, is to become an intervener. When you become an intervener, that makes you an official party to the docket. You're entitled to file documents, to file your comments about the IRP report, and to participate in the 5 technical meetings between the utility and the parties. Those meetings are where the parties discuss with Entergy the technical aspects of the analysis being performed, the types of assumptions that are going into the analysis, the development of the scenarios and the strategies that are going to be modeled, the scorecard metrics that are going to be used. They discuss the design of the Energy Smart program and the budgets and the savings targets for that program. And as an intervener, you also get placed on the service list, which means you'll receive a copy of every document that's filed in the proceeding. That's a pretty involved form of participation, but it allows you to really get down deep into the process and work with the utility and the advisors and the other stakeholders on influencing how that analysis is performed. If you want to become an intervener, instructions on how to intervene can be found in the initiating resolution, which is Council Resolution number R 23-254. You have to file a motion to intervene and pay the filing fee unless that's waived by the council, and instructions for that are in the resolution and in the city code. And the deadline to file for intervention is October 2nd. So you've got a little time to take a look at the IRP process and decide if that's something you might want to do. If you don't want to participate in all of the meetings and file formal comments with the council, but you do want to follow along, your second option is to sign up as an interested person. When you sign up as an interested person in the IRP docket, the Curo office will forward you copies of all filings, issuances, and notices occurring in the proceeding, including the notices of public meetings, so you'll know when all of that's coming up. And this would allow you to follow along in the proceeding without necessarily being an active participant in it. If you're interested in signing up as an interested person, Curo has a sign-up sheet here today that you can fill out, or you can make a request to the Curo office of the council at any time to be added to the service list. You can email them or call them and they will put you on, the interested persons list. In addition to that, without becoming an intervener or formally signing up for the interested persons list, any member of the public is welcome to attend any of the 3 public meetings in this proceeding. The first meeting is this one today. There will be a second public meeting about a month after Entergy files the final IRP report. At that meeting, Entergy will present the results of the report and answer questions about it. And then about a month after that meeting will be the third and final public meeting where the council will receive comments from the public. So if you come to public meeting 2, you'll hear all about the report, get any questions you have answered, and then you'll have several weeks, a month to 3 weeks or so to think about what you'd like to say to the council about it. And you'll have the opportunity to stand up at the microphone and speak for 2 minutes and give us your thoughts on the IRP report, the same way you would in a normal council meeting. And then, of course, at the council meeting where the council acts on the resolution, they'll take public comments the way they do on any of their resolutions. So a few resources, as I mentioned before, and this is on the screen, we have a list of the deadlines, kind of the major deadlines that the public would be interested in. Here we have October 2nd, which is the intervention deadline. Around the end of October, beginning of November, we'll have the first technical meeting of the parties. Then the demand side management potential study will be due in February 1 of 2024, that's the report that gives us a lot of information about how much potential there is to save on energy use in the city by employing kind of demand side measures that consumers can install in their homes or in their businesses to save energy. Then after that, between February and October of 2024, we'll have the second, third, and fourth technical meetings of the parties to work on the development of the study, the IRP. In December, the IRP report is due. Late January will be the second public meeting. Late February of 2025 now will be the third public meeting. And then for the parties on March 10th, the intervener comments regarding the IRP report would be due. Entergy would file reply comments in April of 2025, and the advisors will file our report in June of 2025. And then the Energy Smart implementation plan is due to be filed by Entergy on June 16th. And sort of after that advisor report in June of 2025, at some point, the council would act on deciding whether to accept the IRP report or not. if you want more details and including kind of the complete procedural schedule with all of the deadlines, including some of the more technical deadlines in it, those can be found in Council Resolution R23-254. And the currently effective IRP rules can be found in Council Resolution number R17-429. And as Keith mentioned, Entergy also maintains an IRP website at www.entergy-neworleans.com/IRP. And they post documents on an ongoing basis there that are coming out of the proceeding, if that's an easier place for you to find the information. And with that, I will turn it over to Council Technical Advisor Victor Prep for some comments from the technical side.
There we go. Thank you, Emma. Like to provide an opening thought that this integrated resource planning process is certainly not unique. It's been over 20 years, 2 to 3 decades, that various utilities, large and small, across the nation have become involved in integrated resource planning. It has evolved. It has evolved here in New Orleans. We have a beginning in around 2010 or so with Entergy's strategic resource planning process. We had our first integrated resource plan around 2012. So this would be every 3 years would be the 5th, the 2024 integrated resource plan. So at the beginning, we focused on trying to come up with a preferred plan for integrated resources. But in 2017, we had a revision, a whole new set of integrated resource planning rules, which opened up the possibilities for decision making for the council, and as Keith has put in his presentation, we look at various possibilities in the market, in the electrical market, which Eno is involved in MISO by name. We look at strategies that could be possible, that policies, Eno strategies, or those which some of the interveners may feel need to be addressed in the development. So one of Keith's slides, the inputs are one part of the process. We look at the forecast in total. We then look at how we could develop from the policies, the strategies, and the various inputs, technology. We would come up with portfolios that would then be a part of the decision-making process. There is a set of matrix that we can use beyond the quantifying to help with the council's overview and the decision-making process. I think one good way to look at it in one of the slides that Keith put up for Eno was in the center of the hub would be the reasonable lowest cost. And then surrounding that, we would have council policy, we would have affordability, we would have reliability, and as one of the objectives and in the rules, we would recognize as much as possible in this overall planning process, social, environmental, and local concerns. I'd be hastened to add that Council has several dockets to get into the detail and to have a good sound basis for decision making on various parts of the system that serve customers here in New Orleans, various ways to establish the costs and the recovery. We have a docket for the resource clean portfolio standards to put renewables in play. We have a system resiliency docket to look at how changes in the network and itself can help in the long run with customers. Community solar, which we should all be coming more and more familiar with in net metering. We also have a rulemaking docket for demand side management and distributed energy resources, and includes in the long run cost recovery mechanisms that could be time differentiated costs and whatever. What I would hope that anyone that might be interested in the public making a decision on intervention or in one of the ways that Emma described to be involved in the process, look at the rules for the integrated resource plan in R17-429, right? It's a really great start to find out how this whole process becomes a plan over a period of 2 to 3 years for the council. The second important reference document that's also on Emma's slide is the initiating resolution, which kicks off this 3-year cycle. If above anything else, read those two documents if you have any idea that you would be involved with the IRP process. So I welcome this opportunity to look at an overall look for resources, both ENO's choices and down into the distribution level customer choices on distributed energy, and to have a good plan filed by the end of next year. And look forward to the technical meetings and to anyone in the general public who would like to become involved in the process. It's very, very beneficial to New Orleans ratepayers, and the council is very interested in making this as effective as possible. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Vic. And do we have any other comments from any of the presenters? We're all good? Okay, so are there any public comment cards that were turned in, or does anyone have any public comments they wanted to make in the room before I read online? Okay, did you fill out a public comment card?
I did not. I didn't know if we needed to fill out cards.
Okay, just make sure you can come over and fill out a card after you're done.
I'll do so.
All right, thank you.
Hi, Jesse George on behalf of the Alliance for Affordable Energy. Just briefly, I'd like to say that Entergy is very far from meeting any of the stated objectives of resource planning in its presentation today: affordability, reliability, and environmental stewardship. We suffer from one of the highest energy burdens in the country in New Orleans, such that Commissioner Lewis of the Public Service Commission had to publicly call out utilities in the state to not disconnect people this summer because their bills are so high between the unaffordability and the extreme heat that we're experiencing. In terms of reliability, we experience fair weather outages on a weekly basis in this city. The last time I was in these chambers to comment on the reliability docket that's currently open, my power in Algiers went out while I was sitting here waiting to comment. Yesterday, Entergy New Orleans' sister company, Entergy Louisiana, shut down classes at our flagship university, LSU, for an entire day because of an outage. So unreliability seems to be part of the corporate culture at Entergy. And finally, environmental stewardship. We have a generation fleet that's still largely dependent on fossil fuel, on burning methane. So I would say that they're failing all three of these objectives, and I hope that the council will use this process to really push them toward meeting these objectives. The Alliance and our partners in the Energy Future New Orleans Coalition, through the many open dockets that Mr. Prep mentioned, have offered a variety of solutions for the issues that I've outlined, including a local carve-out under the Renewable and Clean Portfolio Standards, changes to the energy efficiency programming, which I would note, we're still waiting for the council to make a decision on those changes from the last round of IRP planning. And here we are starting a new one, and people are still suffering the same issues. We've also advocated for a citywide arrearage management program, for an end to disconnections, residential disconnections, strengthening the community solar rules, and a variety of other things that would address the many issues facing New Orleans ratepayers. So again, I would just urge the council and the advisors to use this process to really push Entergy toward meeting these goals. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any other public comment cards that want to come in? Okay, we're going to turn to online public comment, and I will just read the public comment we received through our online process. So the first comment is from Shelley McAllister, and the public comment is, please look at the additional fees that are charged on our Entergy bill for streetlight usage and storm securitization. I called Entergy and was told that the city council sets this rate on these items. I cannot afford an additional $120 on my Entergy bill for these charges after paying $650 per month for Entergy usage. No one can tell me how the additional fees are calculated. I called Councilman Green's office and was referred back to Entergy, and Entergy representatives still could not explain why these fees are so high. Please help. That is the only online comment that we have. And I just want to encourage the public to know that the Council Utilities Regulatory Office is here. Please feel free to call our office, 504-658-1110. Sometimes people just want questions or have general questions about the bill. Of course, you can always call Entergy first, but our office is also here to support. So in closing, I just want to thank everyone for their participation in this first IRP public meeting. As I mentioned previously, pursuant to City Code Section 158-431B, no parts of the statements made or the evidence adduced at this hearing shall in legal terms form, and such matter shall not form the basis of any council decision in a contested proceeding. No member of the public who spoke here today as a member of the public and not as a party of record shall be compelled to cross-examination under an instanter subpoena. Again, although your comments cannot in legal terms be considered to be part of the record of a contested case, the council is very interested in hearing the opinions of the public on this matter and in gaining a sense of where the priorities and interests of the community lie with respect to this 2024 Integrated Resource Plan. We certainly appreciated all who participated and who tuned in. Thank you, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Thanks everybody for attending.